Ring-a-ling, ring-a-ring, ring, ring, ring. Hello?
Sure.
Who? Trey? Wait, Trey? You're... Oh, Trey, that Trey. My friend Trey. Trey Burke? Oh my gosh, here you are. Let me hang up my brick phone and say hello.
This is when I wish I would have known because I would have brought my banana phone to answer you on.
Holy moly. Trey, welcome. This is
Glad to be here.
the moments that made you. No pressure.
No pressure. Casual.
Just casual. Yeah, man. Nice day outside, nice and rainy and
Soaked.
soggy. So Trey Burke coming to us. I always think it's fun when I have someone on that is not in North Carolina or like 20 minutes away from me, or like next week I'm going to record with my next door neighbor
Over the internet.
Yes, because it's better to do it like this instead of in person.
Yeah.
Because I never know where to look. And yeah, so
You
are
awkward? No, never. I would never believe that you.
No way. No way. So you're technically in Charlotte and I'm technically in Huntersville. So
Correct.
we're about 20 minutes apart from each other right now as the crow flies.
As the crow flies.
And how long have we been knowing each other? About a year now. A little less than a year.
It depends on what you're considering, because it was about a year now, but you came and spoke at my high school when I was like a sophomore. Technically, I've known who you are for like, I don't know, 6 or 8 years now.
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, like I've known who you are, but you've had no clue who I was.
That's so funny. I forgot about that. Cuthberts and Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Shout
out to the principal there. I forget her name, but she was cool. Super cool.
She got married, became a doctor, and had a baby while I was there, and it changed over. So yes, she's not there anymore. But yes, shout out.
There you go. All right. Heck yeah. And Trey, but your real name is John.
Tis.
John Burke the Third.
That is me.
You know, there's some people that are the third that go by Trip. Did you ever consider that?
I considered nothing. You should have a conversation with my parents, because they were out the gate like, yeah, there's enough Johns in this world. Let's go with Trey.
So that means your grandfather is John Burke the First.
He is.
Is he kind of a big deal?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. He, my dad also does not go by Junior. He goes by John as well. So, even though he is the second.
Oh, what other names are there for the second? Other than Junior? Because there's Trip and Trey that I've heard a lot in my life. And then there's, of course, people go by, I'm John Burke the Third.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your dad doesn't go by John Burke the Second. He doesn't introduce himself. Hey, I'm John Burke the Second.
No, he's just John Burke.
Yeah, interesting. All right. My brother is actually the fourth, Robert Eric Hall the Fourth, and he goes by his middle name, Eric.
Interesting.
And
crazy world out there.
For those of you who don't know Mr. Trey Burke, like I do, did you know that every single one of these episodes is somebody that I know personally? I don't know when I'll finally turn the corner and interview someone that I don't know personally, like on a friend basis. But we know each other personally. But
one of my few skills in life is making friends. I have very few, but one of them, I can make friends with a total stranger. So if you ever want to meet strangers, I got you. I'm really good at it. I know a lot of people.
That's good. That's good. So Trey, so the moment that we're going to talk about eventually, you were around what age? Because we need to set up what your life was like before the moment. So about what age were you when the moment went down?
I was about 18 or 19, and it was my first week. It was like the end of orientation week of college.
Okay. So let's rewind maybe to senior year of high school, what's going on in your life? Are you thriving? Are you surviving? Are you scraping by? What's going on in your life?
That was an interesting turning point in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I had been dating this girl, as one does in high school,
Uh-huh.
and it ended very poorly, and
Ah.
like blew up my friend circle. And so it was an interesting pivot year for me. And like I went on a missions trip that summer, and it changed kind of my outlook and perspective. It's
Mm-hmm.
when I started writing songs, which is what I wound up getting my degree in. Like all of these
Mm-hmm.
things started happening and things were changing. And
Mm-hmm.
so just trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do now that everything that I had known kind of blew up. And so I find this little school in Memphis, Tennessee, and I
Mm-hmm.
start going there. And
Mm-hmm.
I go and visit and love it. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of leading in. I was a band kid. I
Mm-hmm.
marched tuba my senior year. Not
There you go.
not the sousaphones though, like the tuba. So we were hiking them up and down like the rest of the instruments. It was
So you were that kid walking through the hallways, dragging around a tuba.
that was me. Yeah, that was me.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And so in high school, would you have considered yourself a pretty good student?
I fall into the wonderful category of the gifted kids or whatever. Like I was smart, but that meant I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know how to study and I didn't like do homework. I just
Oh,
could
you kind of took it for granted.
I could listen in class and get pretty good grades on tests and like
Mm-hmm.
skim by. So kind of, I wasn't a
Yeah.
terrible student, but I didn't do my homework a lot of the time. And I definitely had to have a lot of grace from teachers because I would be like, that now that my grade has slipped below a C, is there something I should probably do? Good tests apparently aren't enough.
Yeah, true story. So how did you see yourself? Because the moment that we're going to unpack is a pretty significant moment, very, very introspective type of moment that we're going to get to in a minute. But how were you seeing yourself? So you go off to college. Were you brimming with confidence? Did you have a swagger in your step? Were you sheepish? Describe your personality at that time.
I had rose-colored glasses. And I still
Okay.
do to a degree, but they were thick. Like they were goggles. Like it wasn't just like
Okay.
glasses where you can see a little of the outside world. Like I was honed in on everything is great. I wanted to be the next Toby Mac for any of you who listen to Christian music. Like that was kind of one. Like I felt good about myself, but more because I was oblivious to a lot of things.
Okay.
Like I felt like I was like I'm fun and energetic and things that like I'm like cool in my own regard. I don't know.
Yeah. Would you have said like, oh, I'm cool.
No.
I'm
Oh
okay.
gosh, no. I'm still not cool.
So cool to you, you just said I'm cool in my own regard. So it
Yeah.
was more of a self-identified because there's different ways to see the word cool. There's
Yeah.
cool like, oh, Keanu Reeves, he's cool. Or Brad Pitt, he's cool. Or whoever, Timothy Chalamet, he's cool.
Right.
But then there's cool like, oh, that guy's cool. That guy's cool to hang out with. That guy's cool to be around.
Yeah.
So it was more of that sense of
Yeah, like
I'm content. I'm
I know kind of
cool.
what I want to do and who I think I want to be, and I like
Yeah.
I have enough energy for 12 people, so like I could dominate a room. I was like in band. One of my jobs was helping like pep things up when rehearsals would go down because I could just have enough energy for 12,000, for the whole band and be like, yeah, let's do this.
Did you ever think about being like the school mascot, like get in the costume and run around at football games?
No, only because I was in band and like that was my space for that. But
Oh,
I
got
did
you.
do that. I had a friend. I was in like early high school before I moved from Memphis to Charlotte. And I wound up going back to Memphis. But before I moved, there was a woman I knew who I did like some theater stuff under, and she was like, "Hey, I work for Geico, and we're doing this motorcycle rally, and we need someone to dress up in the gecko costume and just like walk around and like." So there's photos of me in the gecko costume being the gecko at this event. So I have done that.
My goodness, I'm not that surprised to hear that.
Shouldn't be. The theater kid in me.
Yeah.
I have the 1960s Robin, like the Burt Ward Robin costume.
Oh yes, I've seen this.
Yes, it's a doozy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's dive in. It's been 10 minutes. We started recording 10 minutes ago. What is going on? It's just fun to chat. Not like I don't see you often anyway, but
true.
Let's dive into the moment. So you're at college in Memphis, and you're pursuing a degree in, or had you even... Okay, in songwriting.
So it was applied arts, modern music, emphasis in songwriting. Okay, and how deep into school are you at this point? Like a few months? Are you 6 months in? 1 week. We like orientation. This is
wow.
So because it was such a small school, like in some schools do orientation and then you go back home and then you come back for ours was like the week before class started. You would do a week of orientation, having moved in, and then classes would start. I'm 1 week into being moved into school.
Okay. So walk us through this day. So you have this event. Is it in the evening? Is it in the day?
Yeah. So if I'm shooting straight, I can't remember. These two moments are connected in my brain, but I don't remember exactly how close they were. It was within the same weekend. Like this was like, the first kind of piece of it is on a Friday night. They were like, all right, we're going to do an open mic night. We're going to do, whoever sing. And there were a bunch of upperclassmen who did stuff, and it was really fun. But the freshmen who got up that were, my age doing like same kind of things, the people who were like in my class, like my major, and there were only 4 of us, 3 or 4 of us. One of them was this like jazz singer who was just incredible. One girl had finished recording her first EP under this like kind of famous producer and band like group with them. One girl sang a Beyonce song, and the other was a punk singer who knew exactly what she was and exactly what she wanted to tell you. And I walked in there having written very few songs. It was a weird God thing that I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to pursue songwriting, and I don't even know what I'm doing with that, but I guess this is where I'm going.
Yeah.
And so we're going for it. And I get in there, and all of these people are just incredible, and they are crushing it. And my voice was not the strongest. My guitar playing was not as strong as it could have been, should have been.
So you jumped up and performed a song as well.
Yes, apparently. I did. I did a song.
Like a cover song or an original?
No, it was an original song. It was a song I'd written with a girl here in Charlotte. It was a worship song about peace, and it was fine by comparison, but it was up next to here's a song off my fully produced EP that I wrote with all these, and I'm covering a Beyonce tune, and like it just felt very lackluster to me, and I felt very subpar at best.
Okay.
And I go back to my the apartment complex that we were living in, and I remember just going to the stairwell and sobbing because I just was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing here. Like, I'm just some dude who is not good at this. I'm not good at I was comparing myself to all of these people that were so we were all supposedly the same age doing the same things. I was like, I am nowhere near as equipped as they are to be here. And I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. And it it kind of broke me.
So you, I'm curious, was it immediate once they started performing? You were like, I'm a fish out of water here. Or was it more of it just started to settle with you after the event and you're walking home or you're driving home, then it starts to really catch you? Or was it immediate? You're like, I'm out of place here.
A little of both, because I'd gone pretty early on. Because again, I'm bright, bubbling, rose-colored glasses. I'm full of confidence. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to And so I went first and just watched one by one as these people came up behind me, and they were crushing it. And I was like, I did fine, but I did not crush it like that. That was not what I did. And so it
Yeah.
settled after the fact, and that was when.
Huh. So let's take it from there. So you're sitting in the stairwell. This is now midnight or something, and
Yeah.
you're dealing with this, coming face to face with reality, at least your version of reality.
Right.
And so where do we go from there? How did you make your way out of that hole you had jumped in by choice?
Yeah.
So did someone or somebody, like, did people pull you out of it and encourage you? Did you find strength somewhere else? Or what was the rope you started pulling on to get you back on your feet?
I found myself, I began to see, because it was starting through the semester, like as
Mm-hmm.
we started going, I found myself slowly realizing I had a different set of skills than these people. And I don't think it like clicked with me as a strength. Like I still was like comparing myself to everyone else's strengths.
Mm-hmm.
But I found I was like, oh, I'm a better guitar player than most of these singers and songwriters. And I have stage presence and energy, and like I
Mm-hmm.
have a totally different outlook on like life. And there's like different things that I have that I wound up starting to bring to the table, and started getting some cool opportunities to do, like play guitar for some artists and get to do things that now looking back on it, my peers were nowhere near doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was the slow process of realizing that I have a really unique set of skills that other people don't have. And like
Mm-hmm.
I'm wired different.
Yeah. Have you ever heard the phrase, we mistakenly compare our deleted scenes to other people's highlight reel?
Yes. And that was exactly what was happening. I was looking at everyone else's highlight reel and going, yeah, my deleted scenes, they don't look that good. They don't look
Mm-hmm.
near that good.
Yeah. Huh. So interesting. Were you able to process this with anybody? Were there people in your life at that time that you could really be honest and vulnerable with to process this with? Or was it very much more of an internal, just you and God, or just you and your own mind processing? Like a roommate, like your mom, like your sister?
My parents were super supportive and encouraging, and like that was one of the things that they kept telling me was like, you have heart, and you can teach skills all day long, but you can't
Mm-hmm.
teach heart. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
teach personality,
Mm-hmm.
and being, like, because some people get up on a stage and they find that the most terrifying thing in the world. And you get
Mm-hmm.
in a room of people who get up on stage, then all of a sudden you lose the spectrum, you lose the the
Right.
view of like, oh,
Yes.
I'm now dealing with people who love being on stage,
Mm-hmm.
versus the whole world going like, the whole world does not like getting up on stage.
Yeah, 99.9% of people are horrified and sick to their stomach by the idea of public speaking, entertaining,
Yeah.
any kind of public thing, because it's terrifying that you're going to end up becoming embarrassed or made fun of, or it's just a terrifying thought that everyone's looking at you, for most people.
Or even put your heart out on something and like be like, this is a piece of my soul here, and
Mm-hmm.
then be like, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
good, that wasn't that great, I don't really care. And you're like, oh cool, that was just a piece of me.
Oh my gosh. I was just talking to someone else today that as I mean, for me, as I do a lot of public speaking and writing, and I have people. I'm doing um two events tomorrow with some other former professional sports guys, and it's interesting to remember, or it's important to remember, that you're never as good as your most beloved fan, and you're never as bad as your most vehement critic, and to ignore both extremes, but it's hard to ignore both extremes of, oh my gosh, you're awesome. You changed my life. That song you wrote, Trey, that's just the best song I've ever heard on planet Earth ever.
Yeah.
Or the person who says, you're trash and you're a dumpster fire and I never want to hear you croaking out a song again. But to ignore the both extremes is what's important. Not just one or the other, but both.
And realizing that your story, even if it's not the other people around you's stories, is important. Because it's, like I had to realize it was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be the average, the mainstream, because again, they were writing what was modern, what was current, what was up the middle. And it was like, and that's great. We need people to do that. We need popular songwriters, pop songwriters, and we need pop singers. And we need, pop worship leaders. We need the Chris Tomlins of the world. And those are important. But there are people who will not be reached by Chris Tomlin. They need to have a different sound and a different voice and a different thing to say. And to realize, like, I'm still, I think, realizing that I have something important and something that's worth saying, and that my story does matter. And these moments in my life can and will connect with people. And that even though I'm not what is the 80%.
What do the next few years look like for you? What's your ambition chasing after over the next season as you look forward into 2024, 2025, 2026 even? What do you see down the road for yourself? And is it music? I would assume it is, but you can confirm that.
Again, the play right on theme. Like, I don't see it as straightforward as I used to. And so there's this quote I heard from a songwriter named Zach Bolin, and he said, the best songs create space for people to tell their stories. And as I've over the last couple of, I guess, last year or so, I've realized that it was like, I love creating space, whether it's in song or just in life, to create space for people and for them to have and tell their stories and to get to. So, whether it's writing a song that people I want to write worship music, so I want to write songs that people in a church sing and resonate with, or cultivating a community of young adults and of, high schoolers and middle schoolers, and going, I want to be a part of creating a culture where they can show up and feel like I may not be the run of the mill. I'm not a cool kid. And I don't want to be, and that's a good thing. And just for them to show up and feel like they have a place, people have a place where not being the cool kid is the best thing to be.
So what do we do with the cool kids?
Knock them down a peg. Just kidding. No, there's nothing wrong with being cool by most of the world's standards. But it's way easier to find yourself in places where you are at least accepted. Maybe you might not really be deeply seen, known, and loved in those places, but you're at least accepted in those places. To be a band kid, to be a tuba player, you aren't always, they're not places like I've never been to your average stereotypical party where I don't think I've ever seen a keg in a house. I've never been to I was never invited to those places. For better or for worse, I've never been invited to ragers and parties, and I've never gone clubbing, and I've never done those kinds of things.
Yeah. I remember going to a party in my junior year in high school. I had just moved from San Diego to Virginia, and there was a girl at this party. I was invited there by whoever, and there was a girl there that was a year younger than me and she was in one of my classes. And I remember at said keg in the basement, I'm over there filling up a red Solo cup or whatever.
Absolutely.
And she walks up with her cup and she goes, "Oh, hey, Mike. I didn't know you really knew how to party." And it was one of the most cringy moments of my entire life. I was so turned off by this concept of, oh, since I'm gonna drink some beer, that means I know how to party. It was such a wet, damp cloth on me, and I don't really totally to this day know why, but it was so cringy because a lot of people would aspire for moments like that, for someone to show you that kind of the opposite of throwing shade. Like they're throwing like respect towards you, validation, but in this very superficial high school kind of way.
Yeah.
Very surfacey. But it did not satisfy me. You know, like it didn't satiate something in me. It mostly was very cringy.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I was talking earlier today with someone about putting together a board game night to play some board game called Werewolf. I've never heard of this game, but if someone's passionate about something, it's like I've had enough people in my life be like, okay, we get it. You're passionate. Sit down and shut up. Like I want to create a space for where it's like you love this thing that I actually really honestly don't care that much about.
Yeah.
But you care about it a lot. And so I want there to be space for you. I want there to be space for you to be super excited about whatever weird and outside the box thing you are excited about. And I want to,
as long as it's not illegal.
Yes. Know. Yeah. And there are some, you know what I'm saying though? Like there's one of the girls in our youth group who does anime through the Bible. Like she's illustrating the Bible in anime. That's not cool, but she's passionate about it. And I want to see that kind of thing. Be like, blow, like go, you go. I want to be a springboard for you to run at 100 miles an hour to that.
Do you know that Steve Jobs invented a telephone with internet service and it played music in 2007 and stood up on stage and said, I've got this idea. It's called the iPhone. And people laughed at him, roasted him, and said, nobody is going to want to sit around while they're camping and make phone calls or look on the internet. You idiot. And it's interesting when we don't fall prey to what everyone else says you should be or says you should think or says you should do, and we take steps and risk the jeers of the haters and take chances. And the fact is, sometimes it's a dumpster fire and sometimes it's awesome.
And most of the time it will start as a dumpster fire. If you've talked to any songwriter, I have an archive of songs that I pray to God you never see, ever. If you see them, I might, like, that's the end of my career right there. And like that, it happens that way. You're going to have a lot of moments where you really crush it in one moment and you 100% destroy it all in the next move. And it's all the time.
Pull the rug out from under yourself and you're like, dang it.
Right.
But then you wake up the next day and you don't let it phase you. And that's, we have to have the dreamers and the unique people in life that are willing to take steps to push the boundaries, to be themselves for the love and not be a clone and not be what everyone else tells them they should be, to an extent.
Right.
If you say, well, I'm a person who doesn't go to school. Well, you need to go to school. I'm a person who doesn't wear pants. You need to wear pants.
Wear pants.
You know, there's a line, of course.
Right. But to say like my brother didn't go to college, and he's now audited some college classes as he's gotten a little older, but like he said, I want to start businesses, and so I'm just going to study the market. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't want to go take classes on economics. I want to go buy property and I want to go sell and work. And like, that's cool. What you have license to do things that are not the clear cut normal path. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. Go to school for 2 years and go, I can actually work in my field for a little while and come back. And that's okay. It's okay to be wired.
Or work in your field for a little while and don't come back and be just fine.
It's okay to be wired different than other people and to go, even people who are doing the same thing as you to go, you can work in parallel because you lean this way and they lean this way, and you actually can work really well together.
Yeah. Okay, Trey.
Say the thing.
No, we're coming in for a landing, but I'm gonna give you one chance right now to set the record straight. The greatest singer-songwriter in this current generation. You have the floor right now to set everyone else straight that the greatest singer-songwriter alive today.
Don't do this to me. Okay.
Well then,
telling any creative to pick their favorite or like superlative anything is the worst. I haven't answered this question, but I'm gonna put a little caveat on it that I say this because I just finished writing a paper on this artist for a class I'm taking.
Okay.
So this is an artist that I would consider one of the greats.
Okay. There you go.
I hate putting superlatives on things.
One of
the greats in this day and age is Jack Antonoff.
I'll give you the out. Jack Antonoff.
You've never heard of him, probably. He was the guitar player in a band called Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Who had we were young. What is it?
Tonight. Yep. We are young.
It's that one. And then he formed his own band called Bleachers, but he has produced for Lorde, Taylor Swift. He produced all of Midnight's. He produced Out of the Woods for Taylor Swift. He's produced on Lana Del Rey and who else was he? I was just looking at the list. Oh, he produced the whole new 1975 album. At the same time, he produced the Taylor Swift album. So he is
that's bonkers.
Pushing the sounds of popular music today. He's very 80s sounding with modern spins. So it's I think his songwriting is super unique and creative, and that's who I've been.
When we hang up, I'm going to go listen to Bleachers.
You should.
I'll report back.
Please do.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure I will appreciate if he's that caliber. Yeah. Well, Trey, this has been awesome. We got to get out of here. I have overstayed my welcome. You've got things to do. You've got important life to live.
Sure. That's what we're calling it.
Absolutely. We got to go make some spaghetti. Trey, it's been awesome, and really appreciate knowing you, of course, and look forward to knowing you for years to come, and excited to watch how life unfolds for you, and obviously going to be cheering you on, dude.
Appreciate you, Michael, and creating space to tell stories about moments, good, bad, or ugly, that made us.
For sure, man. All right, Trey, have a wonderful night. I'm sure I'll text you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll text you. Yeah, probably.
All right, dude.
See ya.
Take care. Later.